following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And I'm ready to go crazy because the Celtics are going all the way.
Hey, Nick, go handle our light work.
Bowl games matter.
I would like a cold cut sandwich.
Atta boy,
You can call him Eamon Owens because he ain't got no D and he ain't got no J.
James Madison.
Turn your body cams off. Do what you do.
Well, there's always next year, I guess. I didn't think I was going to be that bummed after Notre Dame lost. I kind of didn't have expectations set too high. But I was really bummed, Scott. It was not a fun night for me.
Yeah, man. Losing that last game of the season hits like a ton of bricks. I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah. It sucks, too, because, like, the boys were like, Dad, are you going to be really excited if Notre Dame wins? And I was like, you have no idea how excited I'm going to be. Boys, I have not seen my team ever win a championship at a time when I've been alive to remember it. I was like, Notre Dame was 4. That's the only team I've ever had that's won a championship while I've been alive. And I don't even remember it, so I can't even claim that. I want this so bad. And then they got routed. They made it at least close, I guess, at the end.
You know how you have no idea how happy I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be I love you even more than I've ever loved you happy. Like that's how happy I'm gonna be. All right. Like I'm gonna forget that snow and cold keep you out of school. That's how happy I'm gonna be.
Boys, this is how excited Daddy's gonna be when Notre Dame wins the national championship. When that time comes, it's gonna go like this. Greatest days of Daddy's life. Marrying Mama, you boys being born, Notre Dame winning the national championship. That could be the ranking that's going to happen. I'm sorry. That's just how it's going to go because I've been waiting so long for this. Hey, Scott, how you doing, man?
I'm good, but I am sorry. That next day sucks. It sucks, man.
It
Even
also
if you know it's coming, like against
when
the
it's
Chiefs.
0 degrees out and the weather's awful and like you can't even just like go outside and get some vitamin D. Like it's just the worst. Just the worst feeling, man. But I'm here. The sun came up kind of, I guess, and we're on to Miami. That's where I'm at as a Notre Dame fan. Now we're on to Miami. We got Miami.
Do they open with Miami to start the year next year?
They open with Miami.
Ooh, classic matchup. I like that.
Notre Dame, Miami to start the year, and then Notre Dame, Texas A&M after that. So I was staring down the barrel of 0-2 to start.
Now, is that where is the Miami game? Is it somewhere special, or is it neutral site? Or is it?
Nope, it's in Miami. They're on the road and then at home against Texas A&M. So not a fun way to start the season next year. The over/under already is set at 9.5.
Pay a guy to throw the ball. That's my advice. Pay a guy to throw the ball well, not just throw the ball, but throw the ball well. Okay, that's what you should do.
I mean, also just throw the ball.
Throw it
in the opening drive. Like maybe don't have a running back as your quarterback. That's a great plan for Marcus Freeman. Lamar Jackson gets all the heat, but Riley Leonard is just a running back. That's all that dude was in the backfield for Notre Dame.
I was wondering the same thing Gabe was wondering. You want some D?
Vitamin D. Yes, I want some vitamin D. I need that. I need that vitamin D. Just put it in me. Pause.
Yes. All the pause.
Suspiciously missing tonight is Mookie. He claims he has a stomach bug, but I just don't think he wanted to face the comment section. He's a bit of a coward and is
not
afraid.
Showing up after your team loses is like the ultimate coward move. You got to be there. You got to take your lumps.
Got to stand in and just deal with the comments pouring in and telling you how much your team sucks, and you just gotta take it. So that's what I'm going to do. So feel free in the comment section. Tell me how much Notre Dame sucks. Laugh at my pain. Drink my tears. Robert Taylor, thank you. He said, honestly, I was wanting that win for you, Mike. No joke. So I appreciate that, man.
I can confirm. I woke up to a text from him at 9:15-ish, I think. I was like, damn, the timestamp on that was early in the game. It said, I really wanted this for Mike. Like, it was over that early? Ouch.
It was not fun. We'll talk about that game, man, because yes, I am glad that I've removed myself from a lot of the group chats that I was in, because I would have not been having fun at all during that one, because it was over quick. And the fans that like to point out when Notre Dame isn't playing well, the Notre Dame fans who like to point out when Notre Dame isn't playing well, they would have been in full force yesterday. But luckily I removed myself from those group chats. I was able to just sit down and watch the game. Enjoy a gummy. Anyways, we got an awesome show for you tonight. We're going to talk Ohio State, Notre Dame a little bit. I think Joey Chestnut might be the jinx. We're going to have to talk about that here in a little bit too. There's ACC stuff going on where they're kind of trying to screw the rules to get more teams in. We've got a motherfucker of the week nominee. We're going to talk way too early Wiseguy, Scott. Also, right before the show went on the air tonight, MLB Hall of Fame was released. So we got to talk about these Hall of Fame inductees and give the middle finger to the guy that didn't vote for Ichiro. All of that, plus a ton more. Before we do that, though, let's talk about these beers that we were drinking tonight. Scott, what is in your mug tonight? Rated on Caesar scale, dog or no dog?
Well, we're just going to keep it local and stay with the same brewery. We're going with high grain again. This time, they're Upside Down Sour, which is a pineapple upside down cake inspired sour. And it's got a little bit of the lactose in it. I picked this up for two reasons. One, because there weren't many sour choices. And two, because does anybody like pineapple upside down cake? Pineapple upside down cake is that dessert that you're just like, I mean, I guess. Like if somebody offers you, like, have you ever taken a piece of pineapple upside down cake with an excitement and vigor? Like, it's just like, oh, thanks. Of course you do, Robert Taylor. Like, of course you do. It's probably your favorite cake. I mean, even as a kid, it was just like, look at that spongy ass cake soaked in pineapple juice with just a soggy piece of pineapple on top and ooh, a cherry. I mean, it's fine, but this beer's slamming. I like this. It's a dog.
Can I admit something to you, Scott?
You've never had pineapple upside down cake?
Never had pineapple upside down cake once in my life. Ever.
Because it is not a dessert that anybody should like encounter that much. I can't remember the last time I was presented with the opportunity to have it. It's been a long time, but I mean, it's not terrible. It's just not great.
Yeah, I don't even think I would pick that up. I would see that and just go, no, hard pass. I'm gonna go right past the pineapple upside down cake beer. Scott, I failed to mention it in the intro, but good Lord, the jacket, man. It looks so good.
Yes. And in my house, well, in everybody's house, it is freezing. But for those of you who can't see it, a better view of the Little Nero's Pizza, the Home Alone inspired jacket like the pizza man was wearing. And the boys, when I got this, when I got this for Christmas for my wife, and the boys were like, yeah, every time you wear that, you got to say, you got to pay for your pizza, sir. So they get a kick out of that. Like one of the first time I wore it, we happened to stop and pick up pizza, and Luke was like giddy beyond shit. He's like, dude, when he wanted to go in with me to pick it up, he's like, do you think they're gonna say something? Do you think they're gonna say something about your jacket? I'm like, no, it's not how it goes. Like maybe ironically, but I wore it out this past weekend, and I did get 3 compliments.
Oh, all right. Three people recognize the reference. I dig it. I can dig that. I love it. It looks great. It fits.
And it feels great too.
It just looks fantastic. A+ to Cheryl for that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
I love it.
All right, let's check the comment section and see what you guys are drinking here. Oh, Joe, correct, Joe. $20 million should get you a national title. Congratulations, Ohio State, for buying your national title.
Let's not do that.
I mean, Notre Dame just got $20 million this year. I'm just saying, let's just reinvest.
I was gonna say, roll it over, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Just put that all on red and double down. All right, Gabe is still hungover, so he's just gonna keep drinking. He's got This Is Not Your Grave from Two Villains Brewing, New England double IPA, 8.5% ABV. He says it is a dog. Let's see. Let's keep going.
Hungover after a terrible loss, drinking a beer cold. This is not your grave. Can we get the hotline up there? Okay. Yeah, we need to make sure that people can know that there is a place they can call.
988. You do not have to suffer alone, Gabe. You can. I feel like there was probably a lot of Notre Dame fans calling that one last night, like from the stadium during the game, during like the second quarter. Once Ohio State scored before halftime, that line lit up. Matt Barr is in the stretch run of dry January. He says high quality H2O. Man, this is the hardest thing I've ever done is this dry January. It sucks. Thank God for the Fun Pharmacy. Robert drinking a Big Bad Baptist chocolate caramel sea salt imperial stout from Epic Brewing. This is why dry January sucks. That sounds so good. 12% ABV, absolute dog. That is Scott. That is like perfect for a night like that. All the people that are like, well, it's got to be cold to have stouts. There it is. That's the stout.
Yeah. A sea salt stout? I bet that sounds just amazing.
12%. Oh, God. That sounds fantastic. Sarah says no beer, still rehydrating from the weekend. You could have gone with the Miller Lite, Sarah. That would have helped you rehydrate. Sarah did like a backyard ultra marathon, too.
She ran, 33 miles?
Yeah.
Congratulations. That is so many miles. Like, I mean, that's like how many I run per week. One day? Good Lord.
That's 33 more miles than I want to run ever. My God. No cardio.
So intimidating. Woo.
She also said, drink piss, pass. Well done.
Well, that's what. Don't you have to do that like 33 miles in? Like, don't you start dehydrating so bad? It's like no water around. Just gotta drink my own piss. Gotta keep going.
I am back on the THC seltzer tonight. This one is from Sunflower, which I found out is brewed by 50 West, Scott. So it's a local THC seltzer. This is their cherry limeade. It's another 5 milligram THC seltzer. I haven't tasted it yet, but it looks fantastic. Well, the color's a little off from the. It's more like a pink. It's like a very pink seltzer. Oh, that's a dog. That's fantastic. Holy cow. I'm going to crush that and be feeling it. Whew. All right. Well, let's see how that one does for me. It's a dog right out the gate, but I have a feeling I'm going to crush it and feel all the feelings later. Let us know in the comments what you guys are drinking, whether or not it's a dog. Joe, Almond 22 Pink IPA. Scott, have you ever had a pink IPA?
I have not, I don't believe. What makes it pink? Is it grapefruit or?
I don't know. Joe, let us know in the comments what makes that pink. But it sounds
good.
Interesting. Like I'd give it a shot.
Yeah, I've decided, just like I said, I was like, yeah, it's going to be the year of the sours, but it's just going to be the year of, if I otherwise wouldn't try it or avoided it before, I'm grabbing it. Like, I just want to try new stuff, like find beers that maybe we just would stiff arm otherwise. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lean into all the beers that I'm just like, nah, I'm good.
No, I'm straight. That sounds really good. So Sarah, by the way, Scott, going back to her running, she did 33 miles. That's a 50K.
Oh my God.
The winner ran 141.6 miles.
My knees hurt just reading.
5 in a row. That's
so many miles. I'd be dead.
I wouldn't make the 50K. Like, there's no way. I wouldn't make a 5.
No.
That's absurd. Tyson said he's drinking the tears of Notre Dame fans. Screw you, man. Not cool. Not cool. All right. Well, let's get it out of the way. Let's talk some football. So, yeah, Notre Dame lost. Ohio State blew the doors off. Notre Dame started off the game, Scott. I know you went to bed early and you didn't see much, but Notre Dame started off the game with an 18-play drive that took 5 to 6 minutes off the clock and ended with a touchdown. And I was like, oh, shit, we got a shot here. That is exactly how you want to start this game. Ohio State immediately responds with a touchdown. Notre Dame goes 3 and out. Ohio State responds with another touchdown. Notre Dame goes 3 and out again, and Ohio State responds with another touchdown. And then the screen came up on my Twitter that said the last team to score touchdowns on their first 3 possessions in the national championship game, Alabama in 2013 against Notre Dame. And I was like, oh great, here we go again. There it is. This is my nightmare.
Oh no, it was the one thing I didn't want, or the one thing I didn't think was gonna come for you. I'm like, nah, they got this. It'll be a little bit closer. They won't. Oh man, that's rough. I mean, Ohio State on paper, like they hit their stride after that Michigan loss, oddly enough, and it looked like they were on a mission after that. They look like a completely different team, real fast, and all those guys that they're like, yeah, these are first rounders and whatnot. Like they were as advertised. So, I mean, just. It kind of is what it is, but good for Notre Dame for making it through the field. I've seen people trying to talk shit about, buying your way there, or whatever. You know what? The way things are structured now with the playoff series, you can't knock any team for winning their way there. You just can't.
Yeah.
It's hard to win football games. It's even harder to win this time of year. And so kudos to Notre Dame for making it there in the first year. And you know what? I mean, somebody was going to lose to Ohio State. Let's just put it that way. Like they were just too good these last few weeks. So
it was very clear that they were the best team in this playoffs. Like from the jump, they destroyed Oregon. They took it to Texas. I mean, they looked dominant all across the board. I do have to say, I'm very glad that Notre Dame didn't get that 5 seed because, well, I mean. In a way, it would have been a decent run anyways, because you still would have run into Ohio State. But I'm glad Notre Dame had the path that they had, because you can't really crap on Notre Dame for making it to the title.
No.
With the path that having to beat Georgia, having to beat Penn State, who was the Big Ten runner-up. Like you beat legit team. It wasn't like they had that sweet spot that we had talked about where it was like, well, you get Boise State and then you get
they didn't Yankees it this year in the playoffs, playing Kansas City, Cleveland, and we're in the World Series. Yeah, they didn't pull that nonsense.
Yeah, it was earned. They got the monkey off their back. They won a couple of New Year's 6 games, and then they didn't quit. Like if you didn't watch the game, Notre Dame ended up coming back to the point that they were only down a score. They were down 8 with the chance to get the ball back. Defense kind of failed them, and then Ohio State kicked a field goal that iced it. But they had a chance to come back, and even more importantly, they had a chance to cover because the line was 9.5, and they were only down 8. So if they could have hit the field goal that they missed and or blocked the field goal that Ohio State kicked at the end, they would have covered that point spread. And they say, Scott, great teams cover. But Ohio State covered. They're the great team last night. So, nothing you can do about that. It sucks that it ended that way, but hats off to Ohio State. Like they were studs everywhere. There was no, Will Howard looked like a Heisman Trophy winner in that game. Like that kid balled out. The wide receiver Smith is unstoppable. Notre Dame said they were going to go man coverage against them. They went man coverage against him, and he torched that secondary. Notre Dame definitely missing Benjamin Morrison on that in that corner spot. I'd love to see how that game would have played out if Notre Dame wasn't as injured as they were. They were down everybody. I think it would have been even closer. But the future's bright with Marcus, man. I think he's the guy. I think he's the one that finally gets him over the hump, and we'll get there eventually, maybe, hopefully. Probably.
Okay, I gotta ask.
Okay.
The internet these days and AI and all that nonsense. But I did see something that I'm like, is that real? Because that sounds real, and it sounds like something he would say. But did your boy BK really say something about like loosening the jar and making it like basically paving the way for Marcus Freeman? Did he actually say that, or was that fake?
I do believe that he claimed a little bit of responsibility for that Notre Dame team because he recruited all the guys to
This
go.
fucking guy. What an a-hole. What a complete giant loser.
There was like a meme site that kind of ran with the initial topic of like Brian Kelly being excited for Notre Dame and saying, I recruited these guys. Like I feel invested in them. I want Notre Dame to win. They kind of ran with it and then said that Brian Kelly said he deserves a championship ring, which I don't believe that was what he said. But
here's the fact that I had to ask the question because it sounded very much like something he would say or do. I mean, you know. But either way, what a turd. You get no points, sir. No credit. This is nothing to do with you. This is all about Marcus Freeman, who is infinitely more likable than you will ever be. And quite honestly is, again, another one of these reasons why I'm scared, man. I'm scared. He's going to have him in a good spot. He's going to get dudes that want to come there and who are going to be talented and want to play for him. And he obviously he got the most out of this team. I don't think he could have squeezed anything else out of the roster and the talent they had left by the time the championship game arrived. So Notre Dame's going to be around for a little while. I need the NFL to step in and offer him a boatload of money and fuck that all up. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I hope you're right, man. I hope you're right because I thought the same thing when Brian Kelly was in year 3 and we went to the national championship, and I was like, well, this is it. This is the start of something.
Yeah, but he was a giant turd sack who killed the kid. It's totally different. This is a very relatable black guy. Like VK was the exact opposite of everything Marcus Freeman is. The exact opposite.
In so many different ways.
Yes, so many different ways. But I mean, likability has got to be the most important factor. Like, there's nothing likable about Brian Kelly. Like, nothing. yeah, Gabe, but it's true.
Since Gabe asked for it and Mookie's not here to play it, I'll go ahead and play it for you.
Race card.
Oh my God. Sarah asking, she said, I missed the beginning of the show. Where's Mookie? Is he in timeout? Too devastated to show. He says he's got a stomach ache, Sarah. But I think Robert might be onto something here. He's trying to salvage his marriage after the amount of money he lost on Notre Dame. Now, Mookie does say he doesn't bet on Notre Dame. He says he does not bet on the Irish because it's too close to his heart. I last night bet on the game. I bet the over. That hit like before halftime. It was crazy how quick that over hit. It was actually later in the game than that, but it was pretty early on. So much so that I took the last $5 in my FanDuel account. I bet the over hit. Then I was able to take that money and put Notre Dame plus 20, and I doubled that money too. So it was a good night on the betting front. I had a little emotional hedge going on there. But
nothing wrong with that.
You got to do it. You
can't lose twice. When there's money to be made, at that point, it's like, well, you know, I don't make shit if they win, and I'm certainly not making anything if they lose. Might as well change those fortunes.
I think, though, Scott, that the problem here, the reason why Notre Dame lost is Joey Chestnut. It was a friend in the group, Matt Kreitel, had posted that he got Joey Chestnut's autograph at Media Day during the national championship week. Joey Chestnut he's posted pictures of with Notre Dame gear on. Like, I think he's a Notre Dame fan, but the first Notre Dame game he ever attended, he made a big spectacle about it on Instagram. He had pictures of him in his Notre Dame gear at Notre Dame Stadium. He was like, we're in the stadium for Notre Dame, first time in South Bend. Can't wait. That was Notre Dame versus Cincinnati, when Cincinnati upset Notre Dame and went on their magical playoff run that they went on. And then he's here at the national championship game. So by my accounts, Joey Chestnut's the new Gabe. Like, Joey Chestnut is no longer allowed to go to a Notre Dame game because he's 0-2 in my book. He cannot go to see another Notre Dame game live, period, end of story. Is Joey Chestnut the jinx?
Yeah, but I'd also like to point out the tie with Gabe because, like, what's up with friends of the show all getting out and about in the football world here? Joey Jaws out here with the Notre Dame thing. Gabe ran into fish scales. Like CBS, we out here, man. Like
We are out here.
all of our former guests are doing big things. We've propelled them to stardom.
Yes, it was us that propelled fish scales from nappy roots to stardom. It was
My favorite part was he didn't remember being on. It's like there was a very slim chance that he would have remembered that shit. Very, very slim chance.
I mean, definitely not remembering it, considering he
was big
joint on the show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Remember the interview after it happened, like after they signed. Sarah wanting to know, was Dick Runclair there? That's another one.
Oh, you know she was there, probably running a dick run around the stadium, like around. Wait, what was the national championship?
It was in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz.
Dick run Atlanta. I like it.
That's why Gabe ran into fish scales, because he went to Atlanta.
Oh yeah, duh. Okay,
duh. He was in the neighborhood. He did not cough up the $4,000 to see the game, though. Scott, those tickets were unreal. But this goes to show you, this is exactly why they want Notre Dame and Ohio State in the playoffs every year. The get-in price was $4,000 and people paid it.
Oh my God, dude, it's insane. I mean, we've talked a million times on this show about how much we'd be willing to pay to see our team, and it's not even close to $5,000. Like the number doesn't even reach 4 digits, and these people are out here just shelling it over. And nothing, golly, that's what in this economy too.
In this economy, that's the oldest thing you've ever said.
I know, but it applies. It applies, man. Think about it. Like $5,000 in this economy on some football tickets. Holy shit, man. I'm getting stomach palpitations. Like, jeez, man.
Scott, Matt Barr asking the hard-hitting questions here. How many dicks would Dick Runclair run with 141.6 miles, the winner of the Backyard Ultra that Sarah was taking part in? You got 141 miles to run a dick. Are you doing a bunch of little dicks, or are you trying like
one massive behemoth dick? And I mean, that's her thing, planning the route and getting it all. So I just imagine the amount of space that takes up, like that dick run.
So much dick. Gabe said the fees itself was $1,000.
Oh,
that's absurd.
God.
Oh, that is absurd.
I didn't pay my kids' hospital bills. You know I ain't paying that. Come on now.
Ticketmaster is on some bullshit.
They really are,
who could have paid for those tickets? There was a gambler, Scott, since we're talking about Mookie's degeneracy in the comment section. There was a gambler who had a 14-leg parlay that stretched all the way back to February of last year. It was like the NBA All-Star game over-under was in this one. He picked like conference winners in the NBA, conference winners in the NHL. He picked some random UFC fights. And then it all came down to the 14th leg, which was Ohio State to win the national championship. He bet 85 cents on this 14-leg parlay. 17 million, plus 17 million was the odds. If he had hit it, he would have banked $147,000.
Wait a minute. Back up. If he hit it, I thought you just said Ohio State was the last leg.
Ohio State was the last leg. But after Ohio State lost to Michigan, he sold the ticket.
Oh,
he sold it. He sold it for, now, don't get me wrong, pocketed a pretty penny. He got $16,700 for the ticket because somebody was like, I'll take that bet. $16,700. I will take
to
bet
win
that Ohio State wins the national championship. That's all you're betting on at that point.
Right, yes.
Great odds for a $147,000 return. It hit. It would have been $147K that this dude made on an 85-cent bet. Scott, if your skin in the game is 85 cents, are you selling that or are you letting that ride? Like, I feel like that's one of those you gotta let ride out, right?
Yeah, but see, I'm poor and broke, and I got poor people thoughts. I'd be like, $16,000 in hand. Shit, if these motherfuckers trip themselves up along the way, I'm gonna have to find a new place to stay. So, 16,000 it is. And then just be real mad and bitter later on when it happened. Like, damn, what a sucker I am. But also, I didn't know. 16,000 in the hand is worth 186,000 later, right? Like I'd have been the face. I'd been the official face of you played yourself, man. Like that's all that would come down to.
The dude did
85 cents, man.
85 cents. Where
can you even bet that little?
Oh, you can bet. You can bet as long as whatever you have in your account, you can bet.
They'll let you bet it.
Oh yeah, you got a penny in there. Go ahead, run that.
Let it ride. Jeez.
I do wonder what some of those payouts would be if you bet a penny and like the odds are minus 600 and you're only winning 6 cents on the dollar, so you're only betting a penny. Like, how are they cashing that out? Do they just give you your penny back? Like, bro, come on, dude. Just deposit. Just hit the deposit button. Like, what are you doing? Put a buck in here or something. But yeah,
they just hit the intervention call button. Is what they do. Like you've got a problem. You gambled a penny on the longest of odds. It's time to stop.
That would be awesome if you go to place your bet and it just automatically dials 1-800-GAMBLER as soon as you place the bet. Like, I'm going to bet 1 cent on this 14-leg parlay. Place bet, and you just hear 1-800-GAMBLER. Can I help you? It's like what the?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, sir.
You really do at that point, man. Gambling a cent.
Sarah saying Mookie needs to take notes. His 29-cent cash outs need some work.
Seriously, he's betting on the wrong things. You could turn 85 cents into 180. Oof, man, that's crazy. But do we know what the other legs were? Were there crazy ones? There had to be crazy ones on there.
I will try to find that. I'll try to look up.
Yeah, I mean, not to put you on the spot. I'm just curious, like, how many times did he come close to, like, it falling all apart or something, like, early on?
Well, yeah, now you're asking for all kinds of work. 'Cause then I got to go back and see who won the Metro division in the NBA or the NHL last year. Like, I don't know how close he was to missing out on these hit legs. Like the odds weren't crazy.
I'm sorry for asking good questions. My bad. I'll just sit here.
Yeah, I mean, like this would be a good thing to show in during show prep. Like, hey, maybe.
Well, that's a good point too. That's a good point too. You got me.
Put all this together, but like maybe come up with some of these details. Let's look into some of these.
Well, I don't want to put more work on you. I'm not Mookie. Like, damn, I'm like he's already doing enough. Good God.
But like the odds of each leg, I think the longest odds on a leg was like plus 500. So it wasn't like crazy leg, but it was just that there was just 14 really long, of them. Yeah. And dude, think about this. He started this bet in February of last year. He capped out after the Notre Dame or after the Michigan-Ohio State game. That's almost an entire year of hanging on to this.
Yeah, you really should have just let that ride, man.
Right? That you're so invested.
Just based on time invested, yeah.
Like, and every single one of those legs as they come in, you're just like, oh shit, okay. And then the next month comes, you're like, damn, that one hit too great. Okay, all right, here we go. Like, there's no way I could cash that one out. I gotta let that one ride. If I'm 13 out of 13 legs and it comes down to that one, and Ohio State is still one of the odds-on favorites to win the title, I gotta let that one go and see how it ends up. Worst case scenario, I lose 85 cents. I think I'll be able to sleep at night. I think I can make it. See, here's the catch, Scott. You just don't look at the sell sites. You don't look at like how much could I have gotten if I cashed out this.
Well, I didn't even think about like that being a thing. Like I'm so ignorant about gambling. Like, it wouldn't even be like, hey, is there somebody I could sell this to? I'd just be sitting there like, hey, I'm about to win this money or not. Like, I forgot that there's people that will do that.
Trading bet slips, baby. That's Mookie's next. That's his next move. In
Next vice.
Yeah, he's gonna be looking at where you could get value on parlays that are only like 3 or 4 legs deep, and he's gonna be purchasing bet slips. This poor kid. We're in trouble. All right, I want to talk ACC real quick because, as you know, Scott, the playoffs are very valuable. We saw it with Notre Dame. They got $20 million. Ohio State got $20 million for the Big Ten to distribute out. The ACC has a plan to get more teams into the playoff next year. If you remember, going into the playoffs this year, it looked like the ACC was going to be a one-team bid. Like, it was just going to be SMU. SMU was going to beat Clemson. SMU was going to be the only ACC rep. But Clemson beat SMU, getting them a shot into the playoffs and getting SMU in too. So ACC got 2 teams in. The ACC is now thinking of a different way to try to guarantee themselves 2 teams. They are talking about giving the first place team in the conference a bye during conference championship week and putting the second and third place teams into the ACC championship. So the first place team doesn't play the conference championship game. Numbers 2 and 3 play to guarantee they get the ACC slot, and then whoever was first gets an at-large bid. Chestnut checkers, my friend. That is,
I love that. I love that. Like that. You know what? That's what the Big Ten and the SEC should be doing instead of whining. Figure out how to game the system. Like, oh, we deserve to have more. No, you don't deserve nothing. Just go in there and game the system like a big boy conference. Like, kudos to the ACC for finding a loophole and like being like, all right. I mean, I guess their mistake is announcing it this early because there's a chance that they could be foiled later on. But it would have been hilarious like if this had come out like after the fact, like if they didn't really tell anybody, and then all of a sudden it's like, I mean, basically you would know going into the ACC championship what was happening. But if it got to that point and it was just like everybody would just so be befuddled, they wouldn't be able to like scramble quick enough, and it would work. So now there's time enough to close the loophole. But yeah, take notes, SEC and Big Ten. This is how you do petty.
I love this idea though of just being like, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let our conference champion not play in the conference championship game. That's such a ballsy move. Also, how do you know your conference champion is going to get picked then as an at-large team? Because you know they'll find every reason they can to pick against the ACC team that doesn't play in a conference championship game. Like, come on, man. It's not like Ohio State is undefeated, so then they let Oregon and Penn State play in the Penn championship game. Like, we're talking ACC here. Like, they're
good chance there's somebody playing with 2 losses. Yeah.
Joe said that was a pretty good Lane Kiffin impression that you had there. Matt Barr saying, can you imagine if they held on to it until the actual game day? Teams come out of the tunnel like WWE and then said, "My God, that's Miami's music."
See, that would be amazing though. Like if you didn't really know, and then it's like the reveal of who's playing in the ACC title. But of course, the fans are all there from like, you know, the team that's expected to be the number 1 team in the conference, and it's like, oh no, you're gonna watch this other team and the 3rd place team play.
I applaud the ACC.
Then how great is it if the 3rd place team then upsets the 2nd place team? Then what happens? Then does that like kind of foil that plan where it's just like, oh well, they're the champs, but they're a weak champ, so you get them in, but then your number 1 team, they're not getting in.
I think that's the thinking is like, let's protect ourselves from a crappy team upsetting our best team in the championship game and having them say, well, we can't have that team in because they lost to these shit burgers in the ACC Championship. They're out. Like, we're not going to let them in. This is their way to be like, no. Clemson's fine. They're good over here. Don't look this direction. Look here at Miami SMU and see who wins this one. Hey, there's the champions. But don't forget Clemson's over here too, and they're undefeated. And you should put them in too.
I think it only really works too if that team's undefeated. Like, that team absolutely would have to be undefeated, the one that was sitting out the title game, because then there couldn't be any knocks against them. Like, I mean, the committee would still find them, but it would be hard to be like, oh, well, we just kept an undefeated team out of the playoff.
I mean, dude, listen, you thought there was whining this time around with Alabama and Ole Miss being left out for SMU and Boise State and all these teams. Imagine if the ACC implemented this and then they let in 2 ACC teams, one that didn't play in the conference championship game. My God, you thought it was bad when somebody called into C-SPAN to complain during the inauguration. It would be a whole new level, which, by the way, God bless college football for that. Did you see that happen?
I didn't see it. I heard about it, though.
What a great day in our country when a college football fan calls into C-SPAN to complain about the selection committee keeping the SEC out in the middle of the inauguration. I love our country, man. It's what do you call it, Scott? Milk and honey? Is that what we
do? Yes, milk and honey. Give them milk and honey. Yeah, as long as they keep us distracted. And that's what they're like, the controversial college football playoffs. Look at them. Look at them over there selecting stuff while we rob you blind over here. Go be mad at, go be outraged at Mark Emmert. Don't pay attention to us.
I'm outraged at somebody else, Scott. I am outraged at Nick Saban. Nick Saban can't. This guy just keeps saying stuff that drives me nuts, man. This week on Pat McAfee before the national championship game yesterday, Nick Saban was a guest on the show, and he had this quote where he said, quote, "Players need to get compensated, no doubt," talking about NIL, "but it has to be done in a way where, in some kind of way, have competitive balance, and that every school has the same thing. One school can't spend $30 million for players while other schools spending $3 million."
The face of spending $30 million while other schools are spending nothing.
This man built an entire career on paying players under the table more than any other school could. And now that it's out in the open, and there is clearly a difference in what some teams can spend versus others in NIL money. 100%. It's absolutely how that is. And we said that was going to happen with NIL. We said teams with big bankrolls were going to be able to pay players way more than some of the smaller schools. Scott, when they first talked about NIL, do you remember the team that you and I said could run college football if they wanted to? Do you remember who it was that we said could take over? If they sat down and they were like, you know what? It's time we dominate college football. The one school that absolutely could do it.
It was Yale or Harvard.
Yale. 100%.
I was going to say, it was one of the Ivy League schools. I remember.
Yes. Back to the 1800s of just like, we are running college football now because we have that kind of money. If we wanted to do so, we could do it. Nick Saban benefited from a system where he was able to get the bag and, drop it in a little McDonald's bag. And here you go, kid. And everything's under the table and hush, hush, way more than any other coach could. And now that it's all out in the open and everybody can do it and boosters are allowed to actually spend money above the board, this is what this asshole has to say. I'm floored, Scott, by the audacity of this man to say this, to look into a camera and say this. Am I overreacting or is this absurd?
No, this is just sports mirroring real life again. When the oligarchy, when things go south for the oligarchy, the first thing they want to do is, communism doesn't sound so bad, guys, right? Like, let's get all on the same page. Like, I shouldn't be making more, right? Like, we should all be working together. Get the fuck out of here with that take, dude. Like, seriously. Like, what a revisionist asshole who has continued to pretend like they didn't do that. Like, the Shane Gillis thing, ha ha ha, but he got so butthurt.
Oh, he was so
mad. So mad. And it's like, dude, I mean, it is exactly like steroids. Like, we all knew the game, man. It's cool. And you were good enough to not get caught. Like, you are a legendary coach because you were good at the game. You never got caught. Like, and kudos to you, because there was so many other people that I'm sure he sat around and just laughed about. Like, look at that, they're so sloppy. They don't got it right. Like, the Alabama way was being able to not get caught handing money over to folks for all that time and just fucking getting away with it. And I mean, we can pinpoint the time that happened. It was when they hired him. I mean, remember Alabama before him? Like, I remember Alabama growing up. I was like, oh, yeah, this shitty school. Like, no, nothing you knew about. Oh, they had history, but it was kind of like Yale. It's like, oh, that was so long ago. Like, Alabama hasn't been relevant forever. The minute they hired Saban, boom, all of it turned like almost overnight. And from that point on, they churned out NFL players at a higher rate than anybody could. And you just know that the money was just flowing through that program. So good for him for being able to keep from getting busted all those years. But dude, just keep your mouth shut, because you look like a giant asshole saying these things.
Going back to let's say Mike Dubose, who was it was Mike Dubose, Dennis, I don't even know, and then Mike Shula were the coaches before Nick Saban. I just want to read to you their bowl records going into Saban's tenure. They lost the Music City Bowl. First of all, Mike Dubose, no bowl, 4-7 first year. Lost the Music City Bowl, lost the Orange Bowl, then went 3-8, then won the Independence Bowl, then went 10-3, then went 4-9. That was Mike Shula's first year. Then Mike Shula's second year, lost the Music City Bowl. Then they won the Cotton Bowl in a 10-2 record, then lost the Independence Bowl, 6-7, and then Saban took over. Independence Bowl win, Sugar Bowl loss on a 12-2 season, 14-0 BCS championship win, 10-3 Capital One Bowl win, 12-1 BCS championship win, 13-1 BCS championship win, Sugar Bowl loss, Cotton Bowl win, college football playoff national championship win, Peach Bowl win, college football national championship loss. Sugar Bowl, like, it just on a dime. They were just a team. They were a team.
Yes.
That, was like any other team. They would have a decent year and then they were shit.
Sure.
They were like a decent year and then it was just a sky, like a missile shooting off.
It just stayed going up.
Oh, we just can't have one school's.
Yeah, it's gotta be fair.
It's gotta be fair. We gotta keep it fair, and everybody.
You gotta put it in one big pot, and everybody gets their cut of the pie.
You know what I think?
We divvy it up evenly amongst the players. Like, you know what? I don't think that some schools should be able to get more 5 stars than others. Like, we should be able to split up the 5 stars. Like, the kids shouldn't be able to pick where they're going. We're already paying them, so fuck them. They don't get to pick where they're going. They go where we tell them to go. God damn it! Let's take back the power. Let's make college football great again. Nick Saban running for NCAA president. Coming to a theater near you. It's like, that's the real crux of this whole thing. I don't like how much power they got. God damn it! I'll use the money as a cover, but this is some real bullshit that they got choice. I didn't sign up for that, so I got the fuck out. First time a player told me he wasn't coming to Alabama, I was done. What do you mean you got choice? Hey, another school's offering more. I'm out. That's it. Writing's on the wall. We'll see you later.
I only wish that Pat McAfee would have pressed a little bit on this and been like, so Nick, do you think maybe if we're putting a cap on how much schools can spend on players, should we also put like a salary cap on coaches? Like, you can only spend a certain amount on a coach? Because Nick would have hit it with a coach. No. Now you've gone too far. That's
no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that there shouldn't be any type of pool or a limit on how much coaches can make. But the players and the schools, yeah, they should definitely have
They gotta look. You can't be spending. One school can't spend $30 million on players and another $3 million. If you want to spend $30 million on a coach, you should be able to do that. That should be allowed. You should be well within your rights to spend $30 million on a coach and $3 million on a coach over here. Yeah, it's not fair. So
who do you think's up at 3 a.m. bailing these sons of bitches out of jail? Huh? That's where all the people are. While you're sleeping safe at home, I get called down to the local PD to get another one of my dumb fuck players from the hood out of some shit. So don't tell me about how much I'm making.
He never bailed anybody else out. That was the position.
I think early on in his career, he had later on he had runners, but I'm saying the justification is because, hey, at the lower levels, the head coaches, they got to be there.
Well, yeah,
show up at the county. They got to show up at the county jail. But
Coach JB is there to bail this kid out. Listen, it's been a while since we've awarded one of these, and it feels kind of weird to give it to Saban, considering he was
wasn't he the motherfucker of the year?
He was the inductee in the first ever motherfucker Hall of Fame. The only inductee, well, not the only inductee, the only class that we elected to the motherfucker of the week Hall of Fame. But he deserves it again
fitting.
this week. Nick Saban.
Motherfucker. What?
You motherfucker, you.
Cementing his status in case anybody was trying to challenge the throne. It's like, don't forget, I'm the biggest motherfucker out there when it comes to sports takes.
The only thing that would have made this quote better is if he just ended it with, oh, and by the way, fuck Shane Gillis. That's some bullshit.
We didn't cheat. Oh, gosh.
Scott, the other thing that everybody obviously hates about college football is the transfer portal. And guess what? It's dead. The transfer portal is done. The NCAA has accidentally admitted it doesn't exist. It's not a thing, and they have no power over the transfer portal. This was a story that happened. There was a player from Wisconsin, Xavier Lucas, who wanted to transfer out of Wisconsin and go to Miami. So he requested to enter the transfer portal. And Luke Fickell up there at Wisconsin was like, no, fuck you. We're not letting you go into the transfer portal. That's not allowed. You're stuck here. You made a commitment. You signed a contract with NIL. You're not leaving Wisconsin. Okay. And Xavier Lucas said, okay, I'm leaving. And he unenrolled himself from all of his classes and then enrolled in Miami and decided to be a walk-on at Miami. And Wisconsin was pissed. And they were like, wait, you can't do that. NCAA, tell him he can't do that. And the NCAA had to come out and be like, yeah, actually, we can't stop a kid from unenrolling from one school and just enrolling in another and becoming eligible immediately. So,
whoops.
Sorry. So this is now like it's gone to court. Xavier Lucas and his counsel is taking Wisconsin to court over them blocking. But now that the NCAA has admitted this, like, you don't even have to have the case. You could just be like, hey, by the way, they said, like,
we're good to go.
So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. Case dismissed, right? Is that like
right?
The gavel, judge. This is brilliant, Scott. Like, you thought people were pissed before, but also, how has nobody tried this in the past? Like, just a regular transfer where you have to sit out a year. How has nobody tried to just be like, well, I'm just going to unenroll and just re-enroll in this school? Like, I don't understand how nobody's attempted this before.
Yeah, that's the biggest mystery to come from this. This is loophole has been around forever then, technically, right? So
right.
You would think that somebody would have tried it. Somebody would, I don't know. I mean, maybe players were just that indoctrinated into thinking that they had no authority and had no leverage to do anything like that until this kid just said, well, what happens if I do this?
I mean, I guess at that point you're like, what do you got to lose, right? Like, you know what? I'm just going to unenroll then because you're saying I can't go here. I don't want to be here. Why do you want me here if I don't want to be here? This is stupid. I'm out. Worst you could say is, no, you have to stay. And then, okay, I'll just sit here and throw a fit and pout on the sidelines. Like I don't understand. I don't understand why Wisconsin would want to keep him anyways, except to just be a petty bunch of bitches. Like that's the only thing that makes sense to me is Luke Fickell is.
I thought better of Luke Fickell. Like, man, it seems
any of these college coaches, man.
No, I'm not saying that I did, but I just wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't have pegged him. Like, this seems like some BK type shit, right? Like, this is some BK type shit for sure. But I don't know. What a weird flex. Like, no, we're keeping you here because we can. But again, it goes back to the power that these like coaches and schools like to exert over these athletes. Because like, whoa, darky, you don't have no freedom. You don't have no choice. You do what we tell you to do because we brought you here to tote this rock, and that's what you're gonna do. All right. So even if you hate our guts, you're gonna go out there and sacrifice your body because we're putting NIL money in your pocket. So don't you tell us what you're not going to do. Wait, he unrolled? What? Can you do that? Oh, shit, he can do that?
I just like, too, that, like, Wisconsin had to cry to the NCAA, like, hey,
tell me he can't do that.
Tell him he can't leave. Tell him to come back. And they had to be like, well, actually, he can't leave if he wants because he's a person with rights and he can do whatever he wants. No, come on. This is bullshit, man.
What do you even exist for if you're not going to tell them to do the thing? Come on, we pay you. What are we paying you for? Nobody has control over these black kids anymore. This is insanity. The inmates are running the asylum.
Gabe says, but he has to pay for schools. Seems like a dumb decision. And then Joe rightfully pointing out NIL, like, he's got NIL money.
I was gonna say somebody will line his pockets anyway. Like, and just get a booster from wherever he's at now. It'll be like, oh, don't worry, we'll cover that.
I mean, you're going to Miami. Like, they've got Miami and Florida has a history.
They got all the money.
Being like, yeah, don't worry, we got you covered. Like they got all the crew down there that's paying.
I have a feeling that his Bursar bill is gonna be a little light. Let's just say that. It's like, yeah, he does. He's got to pull himself up by his bootstraps. $1 per class this semester is what he owes. Like,
well, and not only that, like, just because you don't have a scholarship doesn't mean you can't make NIL at the other school. So Miami could totally, like, he's banked NIL money
right.
from Wisconsin.
He's got both. NIL money. He'll get the new. Yeah.
And then,
but again, like, are they going to charge him?
I want to see the video though now of him like earning the scholarship. You know how they always surprise the walk-on with the scholarship? They're like, they try to like surprise him of like, oh, by the way, here's your scholarship. And everyone's like, this guy got it. Even though it's like, oh yeah, that was coming. That scholarship's been held for you since you got here. Okay, cool. Sarah said that your coach was the coach version of I brought you into this world. I can take you
seriously.
And then Tank saying, I'm worried about this out of control transfer portal turning into a real life The Flies situation. I love it now. I love that it's just Wild West. Kids are going wherever they want.
So great.
Flying. It's the best.
I mean, you literally go into the offseason as a head coach and have no idea what's going to happen. You have no control over like who's necessarily going to be on your roster, like up to a certain point. You have a good idea and outline, but man, the idea that a kid could just go rogue, like say you got real big plans for a kid coming up and he's just like, you know what, they're going to line my pockets over here a little bit more. I'm out. And that just tanks your whole season. You're like, I'm about to build the offense around this dude. And oops, he's gone.
It's why gambling on college sports now is terrifying. Like I don't understand how people place a future bet, which by the way, let's look at the futures. Wiseguy top.
Hell of a transition.
Way too early. Thank you, man. It's I've done this for a little bit. I've been around the block for a little bit. Here we go. Let's take a look at the Wiseguys. Way too early top 10 for next year. These odds are out now that the national championship game is done. Michigan at number 10 at plus 1,000 odds. Ole Miss and Miami of Florida at plus 2,500 odds are next in line. At number 8, we got a whole group of teams, Clemson, Tennessee, and LSU, all at plus 2,000 odds to win. Notre Dame at number 7 at plus 1,600 to get back and win it this time. Number 6, Alabama at plus 1,200 odds. Number 5, Penn State plus 900 odds. How? How is Penn State plus 900 to win the national championship next year? That is just a sucker bet, if you ask me. Looking at the top 4, there you have it. No transitions. Oregon plus 750, Georgia plus 550, Texas plus 500, Ohio State plus 450. SEC, Big Ten. Scott, are you shocked at all of the way too early top 10 from the wise guys?
Nope. That's pretty much what the Final Four probably look like too. I mean, a little bit more variance now with the playoffs. Like, there's a chance that the committee doesn't get the Final Four that they want every time now. But I mean, I can safely say that some semblance of 2 of those 4 teams will be playing for the national title game.
You know, that's what you said this year. You said 2 of the 4, and then it ended up being Ohio State and Notre Dame.
Well,
and it was like these
four, right?
It was these 4 all year long last year for the title. Like they were, even when like Ohio State lost to Michigan, they fell to like the 4th best odds to win the national title. Like they were just always in the top 4.
Yeah, well, that's probably your national. You're looking at one of your national title winners right there. They're one of those 4. That's what I'm saying right now. I'm confident in saying that one of these 4 teams on your screen is winning it all next year. So get ready.
There you go. A little bit of money on all of them. You can hedge on all 4 of those, and
go.
you're probably set. Sarah saying, so just 10 teams then? No, Sarah, it's never 10 teams in the top 10, ever. When there is, it's because we're in week 13 and everybody else has been booted from consideration. Joe said this is an insult. He said, would love to see those rankings relative to NIL spend. So Joe is over here giving me more work to do, just like Mookie does. We got a comment section.
The comment section is giving you more work.
Gabe pointing out Penn State has the 2 running backs coming back, but they also are losing like their best defender. So I don't know. I wasn't impressed by them. They can't be that good. They lost to Notre Dame. They can't be that great.
They'll do what they always do, and that's lose, somewhere near the championship, but not quite. Like I don't know why. Penn State, another one of those schools where it's like historically they're great, but like I've never seen them do anything in our lifetimes. They've always just kept coming up short.
Always. That's the Penn State way. The Penn State way is, you know what? We're gonna make you excited, but we're gonna let you down. I think Marcus Freeman has more wins against top 10 teams this year than James Franklin does in his entire tenure.
Oh my God, that's insane! But that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
James Franklin, please never leave. All right, I want to switch gears, Scott.
But they can't fire him real quick though. That's the problem. They can't fire him because he wins just enough.
Yes, it's the Brian Kelly factor. Like Brian Kelly. Chase mentioned it in the group today about Notre Dame fans that like hate Brian Kelly. I hated Brian Kelly because he won just enough to not get fired. Like I wanted an NFL team to hire him away because you could be like, all right, well, now he's gone. Like we finally got rid of him. We can bring somebody else in, but you can't fire a guy that keeps winning 10 games every year. You look like a psychopath, so you can't do it. Brian Kelly did just enough to stick around, but also just enough to punch you in the dick every time there was a big game. So I wanted him gone in the worst way, but you couldn't justify firing a guy who wins 10 games every year. So you just had to wait until somebody took him off your hands. It was the classic of like, this guy's a problem in the office. Let's get him promoted to the other branch. Let's push him out.
You've been promoted to the SEC. Oh, what a great analogy.
Oh, man. All right, let's talk NFL, Scott, because we have reached the AFC and NFC championships.
Yeah.
We at least have Washington to be excited about, right?
Who's excited about Washington?
That's a cool story.
It's cool. It's cool-ish, but God, It's such a waste. It's like, yeah, it would be cool, except for we know you're not going to do it. Like, you're not going to be like, there's only two teams that really have a chance to stop the madness. And that one of them was knocked out by the Commanders and the Lions, and the other is the Bills. And so this is it. Like, we got it. Like, ha ha ha, it's a cute little story, Washington, and we look forward to your future with great, excitement. But this ain't the time. So you just took out one of our best shots. Thanks. It's like the 3 seed. It is the 3 seed winning the conference title. Like, all right. Thanks.
Dude, I don't know. Look, there's something about that team. I could see them. All right, so we'll start in the NFC then. I could totally see Washington beating Philly. I could see them making it to the Super Bowl. And I know that the whole point is who's going to stop Patrick. Like, who's stopping the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes? And Washington probably is your least likely choice out of the other 3 to stop them. But that at least would be fun. It'd be a fun one to watch. I don't want to watch the Chiefs and Eagles again. I don't want to watch it. Give me something that I can have some other reason to watch besides, like, I guess I hope that the Eagles actually get it done this time, even though I don't trust Sirianni to get this done. So give me the commies, man. Like, give me the commies. Look, we should all
set up for a Bills commie Super Bowl.
I was gonna say we all probably
the one that's comfortable for everybody.
Bills commies is the one that everybody would want. Followed after, I would say 1B would be Bills versus Eagles. And
yes.
Anything involving the Chiefs after that, right? Like,
yeah.
we have hit Chiefs fatigue, I think, and I'm sure Robert Taylor is very happy to hear that. But it's approaching Patriots level at this point. Like, nobody wants to see them three-peat outside of Kansas City. I don't know of any other NFL fan that is like hoping for a three-peat. And if it happens, God bless us all. We're screwed, man. It's going to be insufferable. If there's an actual three-peat, we're sunk, man. That's all we're going to hear about forever.
Yeah, get me off this ride, please. The thing is, I don't want to hate the Chiefs. Like, I don't. I've done various exercise and mental gymnastics to try to make myself not hate the Chiefs, and I just keep coming back to Mahomes is mulatto like me. And so that's what I'm holding on to. But, like, just in terms of exposure and all the, like, it's all the extras, it's all the calls, the non-calls, the Taylor Swift stuff. It's all of it. It's just it's the giant package. It's not just about football. It's all the extra crap. It's the Christmas, it's the Christmas special. Like, just
I forgot about the Christmas special.
Like, it's so tiring, man. So tiring. Like, it was just overexposure. And Robert's trying to claim history. Yeah, nobody wants to see it. Like, nobody wanted to see it when the Patriots were doing it. Like, it's just not fun.
It's because
it's fun for one's fan base.
I was going to say, I'll answer Robert's question, because the question that he posed in the chat was, I legitimately want to know why nobody has interest in history being made with the three-peat aside from Chiefs fatigue. And the answer is exactly what Scott just said. Nobody wants the history unless it's their team. If it's not your team, you don't want to see the history get made ever, period. End of story. Like, the only time a sports fan wants to see history get made is when it's their team making the history. Outside of that, it's just hate, especially something like this, where you're going for 3 Super Bowls in a row. You've been in the AFC Championship game 7 straight years. Everybody's done with you, man. Like, the tides have turned. It has gone from the Chiefs are this fun story of, like, this cool quarterback, and Andy Reid's this fun guy that's, like, big and fat and
eats cheeseburgers. Got his redemption arc for Philadelphia, unceremoniously letting him go. Like, it was fun. There's at one point there's reason to root for the Chiefs. It's not fun anymore.
It is not. And Robert trying to hang on to the one thing that Chiefs fans like to throw out there where it's like, listen, I know you hate us, but you hate Tom Brady more. So it's a slap to Tom Brady's legacy if Patty does go back to back to back. That's the reason why people should want that. It doesn't matter.
Ben Johnson taking the Bears job instead of the Raiders job was a slap to Tom Brady's legacy as far as I'm concerned. So I find my victories where I find them. No, hard pass on the three-peat. Thank you.
But it doesn't matter. Like, even if, let's say the Chiefs three-peat, all right? You lay it out there. Tom Brady never three-peated. He's Patrick Mahomes is the greatest ever because he three-peated. Tom Brady never did. Brady fans are still going to go, how many rings does Patrick have? How many rings does Tom have? He's better. Tom Brady's better. So it doesn't even move the needle with the people who you want to move the needle with. Nobody's going to back down from their take that Tom Brady is the greatest because they're still going to point to the rings and say that he's got more than Patty. And until Patty surpasses that, then he's not the greatest. And you could say 7 straight AFC championships. You could say a three-peat. You still haven't matched Tom Brady's ring total. And I know Patty's young and he's got time to do it, but what if this is it? What if this is how he ends it? There's a three-peat and then he fizzles out or he gets hurt or something happens, whatever the case may be. I don't want to have to go see this history to then have him not go a step further and make further history. This doesn't have to be the history. The three-peat doesn't have to be the history. We could take a couple years off, and then he could come back and he can win a couple more rings and surpass Tom Brady and get all the accolades of being the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. I don't need the three-peat to include it in that. Just no, please, somebody knock him out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't care that much. I miss when the Chiefs, like, the only exposure outside of the games that the Chiefs got was the Snickers commercial with the great googly moogly. That was the heyday of Chiefs extra exposure of who were the chefs, great googly moogly. And that was like, I know the Chiefs. That's fun.
I miss the days of, the Chiefs. They're just another one of those quarterback chasing franchise. Who is it this week? Brody Croyle, Elvis Gerback, just some asshole. Look at those Chiefs trying to find a quarterback. They're so cute. Never a threat, just a team that exists. I miss those days.
They were like, oh, look at them. I like those uniforms. Those are cool uniforms that I like.
They got Priest Holmes. He's a hell of a fantasy back. Woo! Look at the Chiefs. Look at him go. Tony Gonzalez. I like that guy. He's a beast.
Wait, you know what? When my friend says I'm not allowed to pick Bo Jackson in Tecmo Bowl, I might pick the Chiefs. That was just a fun team to play as in Tecmo Bowl. Ryan McCarthy's saying that he agrees here. Remember 2007? Nobody except the Pats fans wanted them to finish 19-0, 18 wins and 1 giant loss. That's another chasing history that everybody was like, no, fuck you. I don't want you to get this history.
Absolutely didn't want that. Woof. I maintain, and it's probably true, that I don't think I've celebrated harder for any of my, outside of my team's winning that I did the night that the Giants beat the Patriots. Woo! What a fucking relief it was for those ass clowns to not go undefeated. With the helmet catch, too. Oh, God. Just good times. What a time to be alive. Now, that was history. That was the type of history I'm here for.
All right, so we're in agreement then. We want Bills.
Anybody but the Chiefs.
The commies. Yeah, just
anybody but the Chiefs.
Anti-Chiefs. Okay, one last ditch effort from Robert Taylor here. He said, what if the three-peat came with Kelsey and Taylor getting engaged and then Kelsey retiring, meaning Taylor Swift goes away? Still,
no, she doesn't go away. Like, she's like herpes. She's always there. She's always around, even if she wasn't around the NFL. Like, if it meant that, yes, my exposure to her was gone, she'd no longer make music, she'd go just fade into the oblivion, then yes, I would take that. But it wouldn't be like that. It would just be like, oh, well, now you don't see her in the box on Sundays hanging out with Caitlin Clark.
Well, and Joe, with the correct take, he said Jason Kelsey is everywhere now in retirement.
Oh my God!
Imagine if Travis was retired and Taylor Swift would, that's all we would see. They'd be like,
yeah,
it's Prince Harry and Meghan. Like that's what it would be America's Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Like that's what we would get with Travis Kelce in retirement engaged to Taylor Swift. It 100% would be more than what we're seeing now. And I don't even care about Taylor Swift. Like I don't care. I hate a team that dominates for too long. I like a team that goes on a little run, has a good couple of seasons, wins a couple championships, and then fades back. And then another team can come up. I'm anti-dynasty, Scott. That's what I've come to realize in my old age here. I just don't like dynasties. So when a team becomes a dynasty, I'm out. I'm turning on them. I hate them. I want them to lose. I don't like dynasties. Like I can't get behind it.
Yeah. I mean, if it ain't my team, I ain't here for a dynasty.
Oh, if it was my team, I'd love the dynasty. Like, Notre Dame is about to go and win like the next 15 straight. Sign me up, baby. I am there. But fucking dynasties are the worst. Oh,
yeah,
ugly.
Short of being, it's like a threesome. If you're not really part of it, what's the point? It's like, that's great for those people involved. I'm just over here. Fuck your dynasty.
Did you just compare the dynasty in sports to being in the cuck chair in a threesome? Is that what
you're gonna? Yeah, if you're the cuck chair is the 29 other fan bases just sitting there watching. It's fun. Look at you ruining the thing I once loved. Yeah, I love this.
Hey, can I get no? Okay, I'll just. I'm good over here. Okay,
back over here.
Looks like a good time.
You got something on your face over there. You got it. Go ahead.
Robert now very salty in the comments. Yeah, I get it. I was the same way until my team became a dynasty. Sucks the Bengals won't ever feel that. They will once Patrick Mahomes dies. They have a chance. If Joe Burrow can take a potion to stay young and Patrick Mahomes can be murdered, then the Bengals have a chance at a dynasty. Scott, real quick before we talk baseball, did you know there's a Guardians Cap 2.0 coming next year?
I think I saw that, and it's exactly. Isn't this what we talked about? Like, you got to make the Guardians Cap fashionable. You got to make it look
make
good.
It cool. It's got to be
yeah.
It looks kind of cool. Like that, you got the decals right on it.
Yeah. This is what I didn't understand, because didn't they say originally? And I mean, maybe it's just they've gotten better about it, but it's like that was the struggle originally, was to make it look like the helmet, because they couldn't put logos and all that other stuff on it.
Well, they put that like weird like condom covering over it to like blend in, but it looked ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was
bad.
Always wrinkled.
This is good. I like this.
This is solid.
This is passable.
The question is, does this move the needle? Are more guys going to sign up for the Guardian Cap now if this is what it looks like? You mentioned before, Scott, the last time we talked Guardian Caps, you were like, closer to the ball and when we're at the line of scrimmage, more likely to wear the Guardian Cap. Farther out you go from the center, less likely to wear the Guardian Cap. So if this is the Guardian Cap that they are rolling out there, do we have a chance to get those guys outside the hashes to wear the Guardian Cap?
I think we've got tight ends that line up in the slot. I think we've moved that far. I don't know if we've made it all the way. I don't know if we've made it all the way to the flankers, but I think we've made it to tight ends who lined up in the slot. Like, I could see everybody across the line except for the furthest two. Or if you've got a 4-wide set, everybody inside that 4-wide. I think we're good, because I even running backs, like I think that running backs might be really like the ones who kind of push the needle further, because there's just so much contact for them. Like the wide receivers, all jokes aside, like they're the ones that can kind of get away with it for the longest, right? They're like them and quarterbacks. If you're in the NFL, like you're not worried about being touched. So what do you need a Guardian cap for? But I mean, if you're on the line and you're getting banged up a lot and there's a lot of contact, like, I don't know, man. I don't see what the point of not wearing one if like all the science is there proving like how safe it is, and you don't want your brain to be scrambled eggs, like, you know.
You can't wear one because it doesn't look cool, man. Like this
Right,
is
like
but it still doesn't look cool. Like it's
I mean, I don't know, man. It looks cool. It looks cool enough. Like that should be Guardian slogan. Hey, like it looks cool enough. It'll save
cool
your life.
or hear me out. The leagues that pretend to give a shit about player safety just say,
just make it
guess what?
mandatory.
Everybody has to wear this.
Yeah,
thing.
well,
This
that'd
is
be
just a
great.
thing.
Honestly, yeah.
Instead of this bullshit of like we're gonna
Choice.
leave it up to each individual player. You got to wear it in practice, but on the game day, you could do whatever you. I don't know.
Which is funny. Which is funny.
Who knows?
We come from when Peyton Manning had to write a letter to the league asking if he could honor Johnny Unitas by wearing some fucking striped socks on game day, and they're like, hell no, you can't do that. That'll denigrate the league, and you got to respect the uniform. Now they're like, oh, Guardian cap, yeah, you can choose.
You know
It's
what?
whatever.
It's and like the fact that the NCAA won't mandate it either. This is basically them saying, look, we can't mandate this because if somebody still gets CTE,
They'll sue the shit
sues
out of
us. We got to be like, well, they chose not to wear a Guardian cap. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. But if they say it has to be there because it's going to help them, and then it doesn't help them, they're like,
yeah, they're liable.
Shit. Just kidding. I don't know what to tell you.
And they're Brian Kelly on a windy day. What? Dynamite drop it, Mookie.
Good transition, Scott.
Here's the pitch. Oh, shit.
It's gonna hurt every time we play that transition now. Bob Uecker passed away like right after we got off the air last week, man.
Yeah.
Dude, that guy is one of those dudes. Like, I loved him as a broadcaster, but I went into listening to his broadcasts thinking I was getting Harry Doyle from Major League, and then ended up getting somebody completely different that was better. Like, it was a better version of Harry Doyle. Man, he was, dude, the guy had great comedy timing. He was a good actor, decent ball player, great announcer, up there in the Mount Rushmore for me. And sucked that he passed away at the ripe old age of 90. But how'd you take that Uecker news, man?
Not great, just considering it, from not just the looks, but just the way he carried himself. He was the baseball version of Bob Barker. I mean, he forever he looked old. Like, it's like as a kid, like just like Bob Barker, you're like, oh, that guy's got stark white hair. Like, he looks old. Like, I remember thinking well into our adult years, like, man, how old is Bob Uecker? It feels like, he should be about dead. And I want to say middle of the summer or sometime not that long ago, I had thought like Bob Uecker, like I think like there was a transition on the radio or something. I heard his voice and I remember thinking, he's got to be getting up there, man. Like I know I thought he was old when I was a kid, but he's got to be. And then he passes away and it's like, wow, he was 90. Yeah, I guess he was, but you wouldn't know. I heard him this past season. There was no way of telling that he was nearing the end. He sounded just as vibrant on the radio and in the broadcasts this past season as he ever had. So it's a bummer, especially for baseball fans to lose something like that. And I also as a kid, it throws you off because you associate him with the being on the Cleveland broadcast because of the movie, and then hearing him on the Brewers broadcast and knowing how super pro Milwaukee he was, having grown up there and everything. Like, it's different than that person, like you said, but better especially from a baseball fan perspective. Like, Second only to Vin for me when it comes to broadcasters.
Wow.
But he's right there on the Mount Rushmore of baseball announcing.
Oh man, you're gonna make me do this, aren't you? You're gonna make
Sip,
me
chug, drain, pour? No, because I already did this for a buddy of mine who's a Reds fan, and I did it to him, and I was like, sip, chug, drain, pour, Marty, Bob, and Vin. And I mean, honestly, there's no real wrong answer, and Reds fans are gonna feel slightly different way than I will. But as a baseball fan, you can't go wrong with any of the three of them, and it's hard to pull the trigger on saying that one of them's got to go.
Sip Vin, chug Bob, drain pour Marty.
That's the answer.
Easy.
I mean, that's
not even. That wasn't even. That didn't even like. I was like, "Am I a bad fan?" Because that was my immediate reaction. Was
well, I thought it would be harder
easy
for Reds fans because they spent more time with Marty. But yeah, I mean, that's the answer. But you don't feel good about it because Marty is great in his own right. Yeah,
he was great. He was fine. I think that's the other thing with Marty is now we experience Marty not in the broadcast booth, whereas like Bob was in the broadcast booth until the end. Vin was basically in the broadcast, like he came back into the broadcast booth at the end of the like those guys
died behind the mic,
right? They literally were like behind the mic when they died. Marty now it's like, oh, he's still doing like outings and like appearances and it's
emceeing events.
Yeah,
just being a guy
defending Thom. Like he's doing all the things that were like, oh man, son of a bitch.
Yeah, but I don't still
listen to a Reds game on the radio and hear a Laura's Lean sausage commercial voiced by Marty Brenneman and then not hear Marty Brenneman come back and tell me what's happening in the game. Like I don't
that's awkward.
And, like,
ooh, Harry Carey. There's a name too.
Ooh.
I mean, is that the Mount Rushmore? I mean, like if you throw Carey in there, like and you like that foursome, is that the Mount Rushmore? Because I mean, if you
already on that Mount Rushmore, like look, I'll give you.
And you look, and I was just you stole my thought because I was going to say because when you look at Mount Rushmore, it isn't necessarily the presidents that you would think, right? Like you wouldn't. Washington makes total sense, the first, and general, yada yada yada. But then when you get to Roosevelt, you're just like, I get it, and he's great in his own right. But does he belong there amongst the great? So I think like Marty kind of fits there, where you're just like, yeah, he is a great, but does he measure up to them? Not quite. But I mean, again, you can have an argument about it, right? Like he doesn't not belong there, but who do you put up over him? Like definitively,
Man, I don't know off the top of my head who I would put up there over him, but I don't.
And it's tough if you haven't listened to like a variety of broadcasts too. Like I heard more Marty only because I lived in Cincinnati, long enough to listen to him for plenty of years. But like I'd imagine not having lived here, I'd have a different opinion. But Marty just fits that mold of those type of broadcasters with the self-deprecating.
Has to go over Marty, right? He's got to get in over Marty. Bob
well,
Costas,
see, but my thing with Bob is he wasn't like a dedicated baseball announcer. Bob does everything. But
well,
like
he started that way.
No, I know, but I feel like Vin and Marty and Bob, they're all right there. Like they just associate baseball immediately. Like I remember Costas calling Bulls games and all that stuff. Like he's great at like all the things, So I don't just immediately associate baseball with him is my only problem.
Where do you put Tom Hamilton from the Guardians? Because that dude,
I think he's legendary, man. He's young enough and still doing his thing, so it's like hard to put him on Mount Rushmore. But at the end of his career, I could totally see that because he's fantastic. He is great. Like that's one of those diamond in the rough types things. Like you wouldn't expect the Cleveland franchise to have such a great announcer like that.
I know you won't like it, and you're gonna say
nope. He's not on my. I wouldn't put him anywhere near. Nope. It got over on bullshit. Don't you do it? Nope. The one trick corny ass pony is nowhere near my thing, and then every single New Yorker can shove it up their ass. Nope.
That's an A-bomb from A-Rod.
Oh, and you probably picked the most grating one of like the last
It's
20
why I
years of
picked
his
that one.
broadcast. Oh, that was the worst one. Ugh.
It's totally why I picked that one. All right, I'll throw one out there. This one reminds me of baseball every single time. What about Joe Buck? I feel like Joe Buck deserves a nod to the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but also, I mean, his dad, Jack, was
yeah.
even more associated with just baseball. Because again, for me, Joe, I think a lot of the NFL, him and Troy Aikman, like it's like, oh yeah, he also does a really good job at baseball. Like it's like the Costas thing, only I associate him more specifically with the NFL.
You're killing me here because I'm trying to kick Marty off of the Mount Rushmore.
Oh no, I know, I get it. Like it's tough. There's not a lot of guys that you can really like put in over him. That's what I'm saying. He's like the Roosevelt representative. Where
Boog Shambi. Let's put Boog in over Marty.
I can't have anybody in my Mount Rushmore who goes by Boog. Dad, who are those up there on the Mount Rushmore? That's just Bob, Marty. Oh no, wait, Marty be off. That's Bob, Vin, Boog. No. Oh shit.
Harry Carey, Bob Uecker, Vin Scully,
Boog
Shambi.
It sounds like a fake name amongst those. Like no grown man was named Boog Shambi. You're pulling my finger. Oh.
I had to explain to my kids who that was. Now that we got the PS5 and they're playing the show, they're like,
"Oh yeah, that's
who's
right."
This announcer? I'm like, that's Boog Shambi, and they're like, "Who?" Like it's Boog Shambi. Boog.
Miller for three. Oh, he backed it in. We're going to overtime.
I think Boog's on the Mount Rushmore, man. I gotta put him up there. I think Boog overtakes Marty on the Mount Rushmore. I think we're in agreement that Vin, Harry Carey, Bob Uecker are
yes. Those are the three locked in.
We're arguing the fourth spot on the Mount Rushmore.
We're arguing the Teddy Roosevelt spot. That's what this is, the Teddy Roosevelt spot.
Joe is saying
Jack, yeah,
Jack Buck.
Yeah.
That's good. Sarah just threw out Don Cherry just because Joe Buck does a lot of hockey. So she's just throwing out hockey announcers.
I mean, Don is definitely in the hockey Mount Rushmore, but I don't think he cracks the baseball Mount Rushmore.
How many baseball announcers make it if we expand the Mount Rushmore
Hold on a second.
to just announcer Mount Rushmore? Like, that's what I'm wondering now is – Vin Scully may be the only one that makes it. If we do just an announcer Mount Rushmore and we just say like announcer, it doesn't matter the sport, Vin Scully's on that Mount Rushmore. Is he the only baseball announcer that makes it? Like, I feel like
yes,
it might be the only one that makes it.
Yeah, if you're just going like big, it would be like Vin, Madden. I'd probably go Don Cherry. And then I don't know who you would have for like basketball.
Dickie V.
Pro college.
It's got to be Marv Albert at that point. All
right. I'll give it to Marv. But, Marv. Marv had his things. I don't know about putting Marv next to those legends, man. That's asking for questions. Don't Google the Mount Rushmore, or don't Google Marv in that case. It took us to the end of the show where we got to the Google it kids. We're old portion.
I just want Marv Albert now on that Mount Rushmore, just in like a lace, like.
Oh no, not the lace top. Oh man, no, Marv.
Yes,
from way downtown. Bang.
We talked way too much football, Scott, but let's talk the MLB Hall of Fame ballot so we can spend a little bit more time on that. Maybe we can save hating on the Dodgers for spending all this money for another time.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Let's do that real quick. People are not debating, Scott. We need a salary cap in the MLB. The Dodgers cannot continue to spend like they're spending. We need a salary cap. The Players Union has already said that will never happen. They're never going to agree to a salary cap. So what do we do here, Scott? Do we just sit around and wait for the Dodgers to buy a championship like Ohio State just did? Or like what's the end game here? Do they just continue to keep spending until they're out of money?
Yep, we get in this next negotiating session, this next CBA agreement, and this is one of the things we got to fix. Ceiling and floor both need to happen, but you've got to close all the loopholes that the Dodgers have found. I don't care. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Everybody's had deferred money and everybody can do it. No, they're playing a different type of ball game with the way they're able to make money, and you have to close the loophole to make it more fair for everybody else. It's gotten goofy. So I understand they're playing within the rules. This isn't sour grapes. This isn't, if your team was doing it. No, this is the league can't withstand like fans having no hope coming into the season because there's one or two teams buying every single player for the last 3 off seasons. Like
over $1 billion in deferred money that the Dodgers have. I just want to know, like, I mean, their deferred payments are more than most teams' payrolls. Like that's how not just payroll, like entire contract values. Like it's crazy.
Well, and I started thinking that they were doing it just to get a giggle out of it. It's like everybody was crying foul and they can't keep getting away with this. And now they're just going in like, hey, we're gonna defer money because we can. We're going to do a lot of it because we like messing with everybody and just to piss them off. You take this deferral contract to play with this super team. Yeah, you're going to do it because everybody else is doing it. So like it's reached that point where it's like, oh, you don't want to take this deferral? That's cool because we'll find somebody who will. Like it's gotten to comical levels where it's not just, we signed Ken Griffey Jr. and to help afford and offload this thing. We're going to pay him a lot over a little bit. But it's like that's the one guy on the payroll and he's a legend and Hall of Famer, yada, yada, yada. Now they're just like, whatever, reliever, $50 million for it all. Pay you $1 a year for the next 5 years. Whatever. I mean, it's just dumb.
$1 a year for the next 5 years sounds like a terrible contract, Scott.
But I mean, it's cool because they'll get paid, the $50 million over the life of the deal. It's just they'll pay it after he's done or whenever the luxury tax doesn't fuck us. Whatever. Just sign this contract.
It's crazy because these owners have all of this deferment. And nothing is saying that they have to be the ones to pay it. Like they could sell the team tomorrow and get out from all of this. Like they don't have to pay a dime to any of these guys. They've signed these contracts. The new owner, obviously it's tough to find an owner when you have a new owner when you have $1 billion in deferred payments, but like it's crazy. I think that's what you need before you need a salary cap. I'm on board with the salary floor coming from a Reds fan who wants to see his owner spend actual money. That would be great to see a salary floor, but you just got to close the deferment loophole. Like that's the big one.
Yeah, the loopholes have got to be closed first, for sure.
But I don't think we need a cap. I'm fine with not having
the cap on the priority list is the lowest, but again, if these owners in certain situations or teams can't control themselves and is going to be just we're going to do whatever and the salary cap or if I'm okay with no cap if they close the loopholes and then make the luxury tax mean something. Like the luxury tax actually has to affect teams instead of it just being this silly thing that you can completely avoid. Like if they go back to the luxury tax actually making teams make decisions and it working as intended, then fine. No, that's where I'm like, yeah, okay, the cap's not the priority. But if you're going to continue to do this and just skirt it, then you might as well just have a cap. Thank you for that.
Sorry, 5 milligrams. The MLB Hall of Fame ballot was revealed today, Scott. We had 3 players make it in. Billy Wagner made it on his last year on the ballot. He was close last year. He had like 73% last year. Gets over the hump this year and gets in. And then 2 first-timers on the ballot, CC Sabathia and Ichiro. make it in. Ichiro, now the first Japanese-born player to make it in the MLB Hall of Fame, did so on a near unanimous ballot. One person decided that Ichiro does not deserve to be in on the first ballot and left him off his ballot. Who is this, Scott? Who do we go after? Who are we tracking down and beating within an inch of his life for not voting for Ichiro?
Probably the guy who signed a bunch of executive orders to end birthright citizenship. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
Here's the pitch. Oh, shit.
Talk about these beers that we were drinking.
That's gonna end Hall of Fame talk for me. Oh, what do you mean he's only got one name? Not in my Hall of Fame.
You know in cartoons when like the cat runs around the corner and then the dog's sitting there with the pan and he just like holds up the pan and the cat like runs into the pan, then his face like comes through the pan. That's what just happened. That's what you just hit me with, was just a frying pan to the face that I ran right into as I came around the corner. Thank you for that, Scott.
You're welcome. I like timely jokes.
Some people are saying he should have gotten in. I don't know.
It's one name. What does he share? Not going to the Hall of Fame. Oh, what are these two? We got a guy with one name and a guy with two letters. CC. Neither of them should be in the Hall of Fame.
There's always one naysayer.
You know it. There is always one naysayer. No matter where you go, the naysayer the group has got to ruin it for the whole group.
Gabe hit us with the konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
We did that last week after the show. The three of us just sort of kind of hung out afterwards and watched clips from Caesar, classic clips from Caesar, just to remember him. And that one popped up.
That one was the one that set it off.
Ooh, that was absolutely classic. Hey, Doc, I got news for you. Learn Chinese. Konnichiwa. Oh, one of my favorite season moments. All right, let's talk about these beers that we were drinking tonight. By the way, middle finger to the guy who didn't vote for Ichiro.
Seriously, fuck
big
that
middle
guy.
finger, both middle fingers, all the middle fingers.
No matter what his reasoning was, it was wrong.
Yeah.
Period.
I can't wait until all these OWGs that have a ballot die off and we get YWGs that are voting him on. They'll still do the same.
To be fair, we are getting through the like controversial, like all of the steroid era thing, like the pre-testing guys, they're all like falling off or slowly but surely getting in on the back end. So we're getting past it. So they're gonna have to try really hard for their stupid excuses here coming up soon when it gets back to just the merits on the field. So
they'll find the reasons.
Oh, they're already starting. They're already starting. Well, he didn't win 300 games, so he's out. There's nobody else going to get in. He didn't win 300 games, so that's the standard. He's staying at the old gatekeeping.
Scott, what were you drinking tonight, rated on Caesar scale, dog or no dog?
We continue on this sour journey, continuing on at High Grain Brewing Company. Tonight it was Upside Down Sour. Their Upside Down Pineapple Cake Inspired Sour. It's only 4.5%, but it's a dog. Delicious. For somebody who doesn't really like pineapple upside down cake. Or do I? I don't know. Maybe.
I think you got to give it another run.
Yeah, I know. Maybe you have to try it. It's been so long. Maybe I like pineapple upside down cake, but I know I don't hate it. That's the thing.
Maybe you've just always had bad pineapple upside down cake. Maybe that's the problem.
Yeah, I got to go to the pineapple upside down mecca.
tweet at Scott or whatever. Like,
I'm
find
going to
him on-
Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii. We're gonna nail this down. They got the good pineapple there.
Have fun in Hawaii. Konnichiwa. I was drinking sunflowers cherry limeade, 5 milligrams THC. This one's brewed by 50 West. It's a dog. It's really good. The flavor on this one is delicious, which is a nice change after last week where the flavor was meh. It was kind of lacking. This one it tastes like a cherry limeade drink. It's delicious. Highly recommend, especially if you're trying to get through dry January and still want to not murder your children. Wait, who said that? Scott, you know what this was tonight?
A show, maybe.
This was a show. This was a show, man. We did it. It was black and crayon style tonight. We missed Mookie and his rabbit holes, but we held this down, man. We did our thing tonight. Proud of you.
Sir, you have to pay for your pizza.
I thought you were gonna wait till the very end for that. That was actually my guess for the closeout.
Oh, damn. We thought that was it. Oh, sorry to disappoint. I've had one all day that I'm waiting for the close on this one.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate all the comments, all the love in there. That was awesome. The third host tonight, the comment section. Shout out to you guys. Be sure to tell a friend. Tell them to sub to the YouTube channel. Help us grow this thing. It's growing slowly but surely, so help us keep pushing that out. You can follow us at Crafty Sports. We're on TikTok, as long as it's still here, Instagram, Twitter, or X. We're on Blue Sky. Follow us on all of those. Be sure to keep up with the show. In between the show, the Facebook group, it's the comment section come to life. All the people you see commenting are in there. It's a good time. The only reason to keep Facebook. Go join that group and hang out with us there. Shout out Belly Up Sports, bellyupsports.com. Tons of great content there. Shout out to all the pods on the Belly Up Sports Media Network. Go sub, rate, and review all of those pods. We will see you all next week. Cheers, everybody.
Caesar, man, I hope you're somewhere skiing the slopes. Save some snow buddies for me.
God bless you. Go Irish.